Good everyone, today's video, and today it's a review on the Russian Hampden. I realised after quite some time that I hadn't actually done a review on this thing, because, well, this is one of the first vehicles that I acquired for my November 2019 free stuff, shall we say. So obviously the Russian Hampden is a modified Hampden to have a 50 cal on the top, a Berezin UB machine gun with 400 rounds. Other than that, it is just a normal Hampden. 5,000 pounds of bombs. It could also, I believe, it could also carry a torpedo, and it's just one of those planes that it can do pretty much whatever you like. It's one of those planes that I really like to fly. Now, the price of this aircraft, I believe, is 1,360 Golden Eagles or something in that region. Is it worth the price? No, I don't think it's worth that much. There was a good reason why I waited for it on discount, because this aircraft was very expensive for what it is. It's a Russian Hampden with a fancy 50 cal on the top. It really isn't worth that much Golden Eagle. If I was to personally suggest what price this thing should sit at, I would probably say in the region of about 700 Golden Eagles, and even then it would be worth it at that price. But for the price it's at, I just can't recommend it. However, if it comes up on sale, give it a shot. It might just do you well. So as I've already mentioned, the only difference, shall we say, primarily between the TB Mark 1 of the British tree and the Russian one is the top 50 cal. This 50 cal is very good, but it does have quite a few dead zones. It has next to no gun depression, and there's quite a good blind spot across the tail, which can be a bit annoying. So, other than that, I really can't say too much about this thing. The twin Vickers underneath are really good. The single Vickers here doesn't really do much, and you get an offensive gun. You get 5,000 pounds of bombs, 4 1,000s in the bomb bay, and 2 500 pounders. And it's just one of those things where it's a good plane on paper, but it's just too expensive for what it is. If you are going to go down the Russian tree and you need a aircraft, personally, you'd either want to go for the Starling Cane, maybe the Starling Hawk, or something like the P-39K, maybe even the P-63, because for the price that you're paying for this Hampden, you can easily afford these aircraft, even though you're paying a bit more for the P-63. And it's just one of those aircraft that I love playing it, but it's just not that, like, it's just not worth the money that it's been asking for. Fair enough, I had a good time with it. 23 air kills, 8 deaths, 162 ground targets, but it's just the fact that this thing's so expensive for what it is. And it's a great plane. I like playing it, but it's just overpriced. And I really don't get where the price comes from because, well, it's a great plane. I have to say that it is a great plane, but I just don't see where the price comes from because it's just a Hampden with the top turret removed and a 50 cal turret in place of it. That is not worth that much. I wondered why I never really saw these in the sky, because, well, the Hampden is a great bomber. But all of a sudden, it's just, this thing gets thrown under the carpet because Gaijin can't price their planes properly. And that's the one annoying thing, really, because it really doesn't deserve the price tag that it has. It really doesn't. I mean, for this price, you could probably get all the starter aircraft. I mean, some of them I'd recommend skipping anyway, but you could probably get most, if not all, the starter aircraft for each nation than you would this bomber. And it pains me to say it because the Hampden was a great aircraft both in-game, and it was a good one in real life. Fair enough, it had its problems. All aircraft had their problems. But this thing is an absolute beast once you get it to use it right. But if its airspeed with a full bomb load on isn't exactly stellar, it's not exactly going to be beating the Flash anytime soon, or Sonic the Hedgehog. But it's still a good bomber for the BR. I mean, it's 1.7. You're not going to be seeing too much that you should be too worried about. I mean, one on F1s, E1s, and maybe stuff like a P40 if you happen to fight the Allies on a Russian-only map. But to be honest, I never really had that problem. I've very rarely had up tiers. I mean, this is one of the few up tiers I actually had, and I realised that I didn't actually do another video on this thing to basically say, look, should you get this thing? And, well, I decided, okay, I might as well. Now, here's a funny moment. This SM79 Series 8 is getting a bit brave. He's coming in behind my Hampden, and he's trying to play fighter. Well, let's teach him the hard way that this is a Russian Hampden, and it should not be messed with. I smoked one of his engines, and I damaged, I believe, his fuselage. So that gets him to break off, and, well, very wisely. Bombed out a couple of targets there, not really good use of the 1000 pounders to be truthfully honest, but I don't really care. That's not the whole point. And this is where the dead zone of the turret really detriments it. It detriments the British Hampden as well. But the fact that the turret is in such an odd position, and it cannot traverse to the front to assist with frontal gunnery, it's very annoying, because now I have to catch up to this H6K, which doesn't sound like much of an achievement, but trust me, this thing with even 3,000 pounds of bombs on board is quite a bitch, and obviously there is still quite a few dead zones on this aircraft. The gunner can only traverse up to about 60 degrees off the aircraft's rear axis, otherwise you're approaching from a complete clean angle. So the H6K there has just dropped his bombs, and he's currently trying to dive away to get away from my gunners and everything. And obviously with the dead zones that I do have, I still cannot engage this guy. Which, as you can imagine, was starting to get me a little annoyed, which just goes to show. And obviously he's got a 20 mil in the back, so I thought, nope, I don't want to approach from that angle. He does score a minor hit, which damages a fuel tank, but it's just the fact that this thing's got a lot of dead zones for what it can really do. I mean, obviously I'm trying to roll the plane here to get the 50 cal on target, but it's the fact that this aircraft's just so, well, it's got such an awkward shooting position, it can be quite hard to do. And that's the really, like, that's really the only thing that I'd say is bad about this thing, like the dead zones and the fact that it's just such an awkward shooting position from on top of that 50 cal. And it's just not that nice to use in terms of the 50 cal. I mean, it packs a punch, and obviously I think I get to kill the Vickers here. But it's the fact that you've got to really position your aircraft properly, and that's giving the enemy plane time to get shots on you. Obviously, he's only got 7.7s in the front, but that don't mean anything. Now, yes, once you get the 50 cal on target, it lights up a H6K like it's a Roman candle, but most aircraft can do that. And again, I'm just pelting him there, and that's my first air kill. And you can see my team is pretty much dead. I'm one of the few players with an actual air kill on this team. And right down there is a BF-109B1 who's already damaged and is making his way back to base. But obviously, if it don't burn, you get a turn. And what do we have? We have a front gun. And well, he was flying rather nicely, but I think you might want to pack some marshmallows for your trip home to the hangar, mate. Second kill. But again, this is just proving the Hampden's versatility. But at the same time, you'd be much better off just buying the Zhukovsky's Chaika, to be truthfully honest. Like, the Zhukovsky's Chaika, stuff like the P40, stuff like the Starling Cane, they would all do you better than this thing at its price. I mean, here I am dropping a couple of £1,000 on the trucks there and stuff like that. And obviously the two £500 drop at the same time. But the point still stands, and I don't know what this Key 43 was thinking. I reckon he thought, oh, it's a Hampden, normally I get to kill these quite easily. But not this one. A Russian 50 cal will do that to your Key 43, and that's going to be my third kill. And I think you can guess what's going to happen eventually. This CR-42 pilot, he was actually quite smart about this. It's the German Mark Collins, which I actually have. I know Harry has it. And, well, it's a Mark Collins, but nowadays I would not fly a Falco because of all the Swedish. But now it's not as bad, but even so, I would still not fly a Falco when there's stuff like the CW-21 flying around. And that's the real problem with this aircraft. Here you can see he's just pelting me with his 50 cals at this long range. And he's actually hit the right-hand engine. And here comes the Ball 77, one of the saddest pricks I've seen in this game in a long time. Well, I say that, and I saw a guy with 4,000 kills in his Panzer IV-G, and he was raging at the fact that my Swedish autoloader blew his head off, but we'll gloss over that. And this guy pretty much flies exclusively that BF-19F1. You have to be some sad prick to do that. Now, unfortunately, my 50 cal gunner is reloading. I've used him that much, and I'm trying to get the lower gunner on target. And I thought at this point he was going for the ram, and he actually kills the top gunner. Well, he kills the bottom gunner, but not the top gunner. But of course, the flying suitcase, as this thing was nicknamed, is unfortunately not blessed with armor, as you're about to see in just a second. As I try to get the 50 cal back on target, I score a good amount of damage, but he kills the gunner and then kills my pilot. And sadly, that's the way you're mostly going to meet your end in this aircraft, with a pilot snipe, because it just has no armor. Now, unfortunately, that guy does make it back to base, but if you don't believe me what I say about being a sad prick, here you go. And he can't even do that right, because he sucks in it. But even so, this is a good plane, but unfortunately, it's just not worth its price. But anyway, I'll let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all on the next one.